Hi, and welcome back to Are We the Only Ones? I'm Kathy,
Hi, I'm Ray.
and today we're going to talk about something really dark, actually, but it's so prevalent in the news that we have no choice but to talk about it.
Honestly, we can't be quiet about it.
That's okay. That's a very good point. We cannot be quiet about it. Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
That's correct. You are 100% correct. That's the way we should be talking about it always.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has always been in the shadows, in the darkness, and it's always about keeping kids and women, girls, because I hate this underage women.
They're children.
They're children.
They are children. They're girls. They're children.
Or teenagers at the very least. They're not underage women.
Mm-hmm.
They're teens.
Yeah.
And they were subjected to grown man
sexual violence.
And so what are we talking about? We haven't even said what we're talking about, but I bet you already know. I bet you all know what we're talking about.
Who are we talking about? Everybody already knows.
And the saddest part is I'm like, do I start humming the presidential anthem?
All right.
Because that would be the soundtrack of who we're talking about.
Correct.
And how sad is that, America? How sad is that, right?
Right. And I think it's funny too, because when we were talking about this before we started recording, you were talking about how you're finding all of this stuff on social media and you're like, oh crap, I remember that from TV from when I was younger. And it's like, all of this stuff has been out there.
Yes.
It's just been in the shadows.
Yeah. And the hardest part is that because I actually grew up watching it live on TV, and then I'm going, oh, don't you guys remember these clips? And I'm forgetting that like I'm much older now. And no, most people have not seen these clips. Mm-hmm. And anybody that's like a new voter that would be,
18
definitely has not seen these clips. Definitely didn't listen to Howard Stern and didn't hear the audio and didn't see the video of, there's just like so many things. And he's like, oh, what's the youngest age that you'll ever go? He said, Donald Trump said, Ivanka made me promise to not date anybody younger than her. And he goes, as she gets older, the field gets smaller. But, I'm not going to go. They're like, what's your minimum? What's your minimum age? And he goes, I'm not going to be like one of those guys who goes down to 12. So I was like, 12 is the number you picked? Like,
it should be like 25.
It should have been at minimum 18.
Gross.
I mean, he's old and wrinkly when he's saying this. Like, that's gross. And so there's that. And then there was the clip that I had posted about when he was on The View. And he was like, oh no, he's on Wendy Williams. And he goes, she goes, we have this thing called like phase 5 questions, something like that. Yeah. It was like, what? So Ivanka Trump was sitting next to her dad. Mm-hmm. And she goes, what do you guys have in common? Ivanka, tell me what you think you have in common with your dad. And she goes, oh, I don't know. No, real estate or maybe golf. He goes, so then she goes, Dad, what about you? He goes, I was going to say sex, but I can't. And then I'm like, oh my God. And so people were like, oh my God, how come Ivanka just laugh?
Who would say that?
He would. He has said it many times. That is not the first time that he has said that. He has said, if Ivanka wasn't my daughter, I would be dating her. I'd probably be dating her. And she goes, and I realized this, like, he also grabs her by the hips and like at the butt, half hip, like the way he holds her, it's always way low. Right here.
Like ass to hip.
It's very, let me tell you right now, my dad has never touched me there.
Well,
ever.
I kind of feel bad for her because if you think about it, like if he's saying this shit in the open, what is he like behind the scenes?
There was other things like, I think it was Katie Johnson. That's the Jane Doe name for her. That was 13 years old. That was the case that we had read, right? Mm-hmm. She had said that he had picked her out because he said that she reminded him of his daughter. And remember, she's 13. She's like, you remind me of my daughter. And so that's why he picked her.
Okay.
But he also said that to Stormy Daniels. She also testified and said, you remind me of my daughter. Do you remember that? He says it all the time.
That's so gross.
To every single blonde that he hooks up with, he says, you remind me of my daughter. I mean, he means it as a compliment, but it's like you're constantly reinforcing.
Like her, though. It's just that they're women with blonde hair.
But what is being conveyed is that he's using that person, and then he needs it close enough so he can like. It's a fantasy. There's other people that have actually said that it's a fantasy he like talks about all the time. So in closed circles, he talks about.
Sick.
So then it tracks that like every single time that there's some kind of romantic encounter that's really weird, and then it's like,
How many people voted for him? 76 million.
I don't know the number. We should actually. I don't know if that's the number. Is that the number? But
you know, you can keep talking. I'll look it
go
up.
ahead. Because
I'm just like, at this point.
I need to move your mic down a little more.
At this point, I'm just like, what the fuck? Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line where like, okay, you know, actually, this is going too far, or this is.
Well, this is the line. Remember,
like
we had said, "Is this the line?" I hope this is the line.
With the
this
Epstein
is the line.
files?
Yeah, this is the line because this is where everybody's starting to freak out. So humanity in America, you can feel a little bit better that this is the line. It should be the line. This is the line. To the extent that they are literally, they called like 100,000 FBI agents to go and do an emergency session to go through all of the Epstein file documents, and then halfway through or somewhere.
I don't trust it because.
No, that's what they're doing. They're trying to redact it. So they're trying to purge all of the evidence before it goes down to the vote. Because when they open the session, they have enough votes to release the files, apparently. And that's why they won't hold the vote. They know they have the votes.
Yeah.
So they close the session so that it would not. They're having a recess.
Early.
Yeah, they're having a 5-week total recess.
To give them 5 weeks to go through and purge the Epstein files.
Which stops the government completely. Like, we don't get to vote on a single bill anymore. Right now, like none of there's a lot of work that's supposed to be getting done right now. Do people
realize that though? Like, do his voters, does the MAGA following, because there has been this huge fallout between the MAGA following and Trump with not releasing the Epstein files or the list, which there is no longer a list. What there was a list, but now there's not a list, but then there aren't files or whatever. Do they realize that this makes them look even worse? That you have to basically shut down the government for 5 weeks so that you can clean house.
So you're operating in this place where there's still like some kind of logical, there's like a space where there's innocence. There's no innocence. It doesn't matter how they look. They already know it's bad. They have to do everything they can not to let it hit the public.
77 million.
77. Oh my God, you're 1 million shy. That's crazy. But good job on almost getting them.
Yeah, almost.
So my concern is that, there is Josh Johnson, who's a comedian that is now going to be on the regular rotation of The Daily Show. He said, I don't understand why everyone cares about this list when you have Ghislaine Maxwell, who is a living, breathing list.
Exactly. If that does not... yeah, I've been seeing and I totally agree. You know, we're living in a patriarchal society when a ring of elite men are sexually abusing children, and the only one paying the price is a woman in jail.
And let me tell you, as somebody who understands, like, you know what, you want yourself protected, but once your identity has been revealed for the court case, when it's actually time and you have to reveal it, everybody's saying, oh, we're protecting the victims. You've already unsealed your name by this point, right? So, like, you actually if that helps convict the person and put them away, you're happy to let them know, right? Yeah. So the idea that, we're trying to protect them, it's the same thing as like we're trying to protect unborn babies, right? It's like all this thing is like this.
We're always trying to protect.
But they're really not. So that's the thing is it goes along with when we were saying it's not really a racist anymore because they actually are elevating people of color. It's just picking and choosing things to work. So this is a perfect thing right now. There is no logic the only logic is that we know he's obviously in the files because the way he's behaving is like he's definitely in the files.
Yeah, he's freaking out.
And we already know that because we've seen all the videos with him hanging out with him. There's like video, the Wall Street Journal, I posted it was on Trump stationery, and it was the birthday note to Jeffrey Epstein. I posted that, and it's on our Substack. And if you see it, he wrote his name because Donald Trump's signature is a very jagged signature. It's a very specific, jagged, almost like a violent-looking, angry signature. Yeah. So it actually, in the drawing, as pubic hair, I'm like, of course he did that. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where
very symbolic.
It's and
relationship.
For him to say that I've never written a drawing in my life, and then you have like 6 drawings that he actually gave to charity, and they actually made money. Like, part of me was also thinking, why doesn't he just make drawings and sell them? Pure profit. Why is he doing all this other shit? Why does he just do that?
Because he can't grant himself immunity by just making drawings.
For prison again. He wants to open Alcatraz. You know that they're revisiting opening Alcatraz?
Oh,
I was like,
Lord.
is this full opening of prisons that we're going to put him in? I'd be careful with him. Open up prisons that are perfect for him to be in.
He doesn't think he's going to go anywhere. So, and I'm not hopeful that he's going to go anywhere either. I feel like he's going to con his way out of any kind of punishment that's due.
Well, look, even for my predator, when he got fully convicted and sentenced, his punishment was full retirement pay at the second lieutenant level. So he was a major, so he got knocked down from major to second lieutenant, which is the entry level of officer pay.
Yeah.
But that means that I think it's like calculate 70%, or it was like something like the average of the last 3 years, but that would normally be at major pay, got knocked down to second lieutenant pay. And then I think it's like 70% of that amount is what they get as their pension for the rest of their life. That was what his punishment was. He got knocked down. So, and he's walking free. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, he's thriving. And he gave up, when they were saying, what about her emails? And like, oh, she gave up, which she didn't, like classified information, whatever. Like, my situation was he actually did use classified top secret information. He revealed this information to me and then tried to say, oh, I gave you this information. I'm so upset. You have to give me something in return so I feel safe. I was like, well, that's not my problem that you can't keep secrets.
Yeah. You're like,
I was like, I can.
Job. That's your job.
I was like, so then I had to basically
what a piece of shit.
Negotiate my way out of that situation.
Yeah.
Where he, you know, I mean, in a way, it's kind of interesting because the thing about like a shitty person is they're shitty through and through. Yeah. So like, even if separate from, and they wanted me to wear a wire. And I said, no, I'm not going to wear a wire. You have plenty of information right now. I don't need to go and wear a wire at all. And because I just couldn't be in the same room.
Well, also too, if it's about protecting women and children, why would they send you into that situation where you're going to be vulnerable yet again? And that's another opportunity for him to try to attack or persuade you.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing that was really crazy because I was like, you need me to go, that's how much evidence is needed? Like, that's how much for someone who was...
do this again?
Who has basically who's committed treason? Who was totally in violation of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which is short for the UCMJ, right? So like, or UCMJ is what the acronym usually is. And that is the governing laws of all military, for each branch. There's like different ones too. And, for the Army, and like, actually just got off of a flight where I was sitting next to a guy and his job was the equivalent to NCIS for the Army.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was talking to him. He was definitely Republican, but he was or maybe he wasn't Republican because he was very progressive. I could tell he was just like, yeah, that's kind of like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, cool. Like, we're
the thing is, I feel like there is a difference between Republicans and people that are like MAGA.
Yeah, I saw in an article recently that there's been secret meetings between Republicans and Democrats to create a third party.
Yeah. Because
they know that the Republican Party has morphed into something so hateful that they don't think they can bring it back. So they're just going to form a third party, which is probably better because usually, so when I studied...
And Elon Musk's going to give them money?
Well, see, this is the hard thing about this Elon Musk situation where he's like a bad guy and then sort of like an ally and then sort of a bad guy. Because you know it's not allyship because he's trying to do it to help the greater good. He's doing it to get back at some revenge. Yeah. But the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right. And also he's trying to make sure that he keeps money in his pocket.
Right.
At the end of the day.
I think both of them had a blood bond to not go to jail because that's why he destroyed USAID stuff because they had an investigation going on Starlink. He was doing some shady stuff in another country. Yeah.
And I did hear like there's did you see, I think it was in Texas, there was a Tesla employee that died in a factory.
No.
Yeah, and they only got paid out like $50,000, which is like...
that's so little.
That's exactly.
That should be like millions. Especially for how much he's worth.
Yeah, so there's, a whole bunch of stuff I'm sure going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of.
Well, the thing that we have to sort of recognize is that there is some crazy honeypot operation going on that is... Because Jeffrey Epstein has a bank account right now that still has money being transferred, the millions of dollars being transferred in and out of it. So it's obviously it's auto pay.
Okay. And then, like
auto transfer.
I'm not sure about this, but I thought I had read somewhere that it was also some money that was funneled from Donald Trump.
Oh, so they found They found 4,267 wire transfers to the tune of $1.1 billion, most of which was Russia's money going into the Trump administration knew about this and was hiding that. So that just came out.
There was just something so weird and nasty going on. Why isn't this stuff? I mean, I don't watch the news, so maybe it is all over the news. I just read
It's all over the
articles.
news. It's definitely. This is the good thing. It's all over the news. It's all over the internet. People are not letting it go. There are huge ads the New York Post took out and put into Times Square of literally just pictures of Trump and Epstein together. It's just constantly. It's just running in Times Square constantly. In London, they have put up pictures of Trump and Epstein together on all of the bus stops.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
Like,
in preparation for his visit, right?
This is the great thing about the court of public opinion. It's doing its job right now.
Right.
You could try to hide. That's also the great thing about social media and global internet.
Yeah.
Global internet. Not just internet. Global internet. Because you can't censor the internet now globally anymore. So that even if you're trying to censor the American public, we'll hear about it.
One way or another.
Yeah, we're going to get... And also all of them are trying to save us, right? So they're like, look at all this information we got. So...
Look, America.
Yeah, like...
We're here to help you.
E.T. found old footage, like dating back to there's a wedding of Marla Maples, and Donald Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein's there. That's a long time ago, right? So there's also like footage of them like a Victoria's Secret fashion show talking. Mm-hmm. There's footage of Donald Trump pointing at a little girl and going to Epstein like, look at her, right? And you're like, ew, she's like definitely 11, 12, 13. Like there's no doubt about it. Because they're not even, they haven't even hit puberty. Some of these kids you can tell have not hit puberty, and you're like, whoa. I'm supposed to believe that Donald Trump this guy wants to hang out with all these girls, little girls.
Why? Yeah.
Like, that makes
why
no
does
sense.
A grown man want to hang out with a whole bunch of little girls?
So now we know why, right? Before it's like this idea that's like, oh, they're just trying to help with the children. Right? It looks like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a certain amount of that, but there's also like,
you don't have to be that present.
Where are the mothers?
Just put in the money and back off. You don't have to be present. You don't have to go into the dressing room. You don't have to.
Yeah, so that was audio from the Howard Stern show.
Yeah,
it was like
you don't have to go into the dressing room for a pageant of teenagers.
He's like, oh, I'm the owner of a pageant.
And conduct it and just not go in there like a decent human being.
I'm just inspecting everybody.
I'm just inspecting.
That's disgusting.
You are such an ass.
That's so disgusting.
The President of the United States of America, everyone. Whoopee.
Yeah, we are speechless at points. Like we're just like, I can't believe we're even talking about this. Like but
I feel
I'm
like
glad it's not quiet.
As somebody who's suffered from being sexually assaulted as a child for many years, for them to run on this ticket of protecting children and fucking nominate, stand behind, double down, bend the knee to
reelect
by 77 million votes. This predator, I cannot wrap my mind around it. And it's still early on in his second term. There's still so much time to go. We haven't even made it through a full year.
I don't know. I mean, so Joe Rogan has turned on him. Ann Coulter has turned on him. Marjorie Taylor Greene has turned on him. Tucker Carlson has turned on him. Alex Jones turned on him.
Nick
Fuentes was actually the most aggressive in the way that he was saying.
Charlie Kirk hasn't. He's literally just taking it up the butt at this point.
Well, there's definitely people that cannot admit that they are wrong. Right? They would rather protect a child molester than admit that they're wrong. Protect a child molester's protector. Okay? Right. So at the very least, we can say he's protecting that Donald Trump is a child molester protector.
Yeah.
100% full stop. We know that for sure based on the fact that he's not going to release these files fully. Yeah. Like I remember when we were saying, oh, if you didn't do it, release the files because you would be cleared.
Oh, cleared, yeah. Everyone would be like, oh, thank you.
So this is I haven't shown you. So I actually saw this like Epstein file dark web leak of like I have 8 documents that I actually like zoomed in, and I haven't decided if I'm gonna post it or not because I'm not really like. But I've seen it cross-referenced. Michael Wolff, who was Trump's biographer, and has seen the Polaroids where he described that he saw the Polaroids because Jeffrey Epstein showed him the Polaroids. He had a lot of access because he did the biography for Epstein, the biography for Trump, and they gave him a lot of access over those like years. So that's why they were like, oh, let me
Yeah.
show you this
Okay.
picture. He's like, I was at Epstein's house. He shows me Polaroids that he had kept in his vault, and
Okay.
one of the Polaroids is a picture of young girls surrounding Donald Trump, pointing at him, laughing, and he's got a stain on his pants, and they're laughing at the stain on his pants. So I'm assuming,
Oh my god.
right? So he was like, where are those photos? Because when the FBI seized the vault, those photos were in there. He knows, he's seen them, right? So when he was doing that, like recording, real, live, whatever, then there was this other flash of some of the files, and one of the documents that was one of the documents that I have. So that's I'm like, oh, okay. So maybe, like, I looked at it. The names that are in there that I recognize in other interviews by victims are the same names that they had said that were there. So like David Copperfield is alleged to be in there.
The magician?
Yeah. Yes, the same, very same. And there's testimony from one of the victims that David Copperfield was the person that she had to be like paired up with or whatever, like that she was told to go and spend time with or whatever. And so, because it's I feel like the way that you like in movies when you show these guys, I'm thinking like Shanghai Noon or whatever movies when they come in, they're going to a brothel and there's like all the women like, hey.
It was like that with
I feel like maybe not as obvious like, hey, but when you see video of, there's like a Leslie Stahl interview where Trump is being interviewed by Leslie Stahl, and it's like, I think it was for NBC, and it's like, we're at the plaza and they're throwing a party before they open the Plaza Hotel, and it was like Mar-a-Lago, and they're all dancing around. It was like the Buffalo Bills cheerleaders, and they're just like, yeah, like you can tell, I feel like, action, start dancing and start doing that. Like I could see maybe that was part of it. Like you guys look excited, look like you're celebrating,
just like a PR stunt.
But it was clearly like his projection of what he wants to present himself as is like surrounded by blonde women.
Mm-hmm.
They're like constantly drunk and like dancing around them and like just act. But like if you go to a normal party, people don't
do that,
dance like that. They don't throw their heads back like that. They don't really act like that's definitely. Because I've been on enough also sets to be like, okay, and action, everybody get excited. Like I've also saw like that looks more like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, guys, we're gonna do the scene, and even though it's real, it is like set up because there's cameramen, there's boom mics, so you do have to prep people. Like we're gonna walk through the space, so when we walk through, guys, make sure you're lively, right? So that's how he wants to project himself, always, because being sexy, seem like you have, so it led with like the brand, it like was consistent with the brand with an interview that he said, I'm a very happily married man, but like I could date women, like people want to date me kind of thing. And it was like when this is like when he's like the nicest, where I'm like, I'm a happily married man, I'm but you also know that there's no way he was faithful the whole time. So it's just, you just sort of see.
Obviously, he's not because of Stormy Daniels.
Right.
Like.
And then like, so Jeffrey Epstein said that Melania Trump met Donald Trump on his plane, and actually like the first time they ever had sex was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane. So that's how close they were. And that's how far back it goes. Melania Trump has no modeling career. There's like a couple of images of her very like risque, but they've never been printed in anything like really, except like maybe post to make fun of her, like some kind of like satirical thing. But she never had a real modeling contract. There's no brand deals that you see. So there's definitely.
Wasn't she here illegally?
She's here on Einstein visa, H-1B1 visa. It's called the Einstein visa, and it's usually given for like chemical engineers.
Yeah.
People in the science,
people doing
like
things
mathematicians for Harvard, like.
Yeah.
For her to get that, you have to understand like how weird that is.
Yeah.
Because she's obviously not a genius, and I'm not trying to be mean. Like she's literally, if she was a genius, we would know that.
Maybe
right
she's
now.
an evil genius.
That's not part of the H-1B visa.
That's not part of it. I'm like, I wouldn't put it past her at this point. Like,
well, no, I don't think it was her. It was them. So I believe it was Jean-Luc Bernard, the guy that got in trouble. He's a French predator guy that brought the models over, and they're always on the planes. So he actually was the one that discovered Mila Jovovich. Mila Jovovich, she was in Fifth Element. She's beautiful. So I remember
Oh yes.
when I was young,
Like bright blue eyes.
she was the model that was on the cover of all these magazines, and it was like, wow, these prodigies. It's, I don't know if you call it prodigy because it's just your face, right? But it's like these models are so beautiful, even though they're only 13. She was 13. She was like, I remember being. My mom was with me. She's like, I remember being 11, and there was other 11-year-olds, and their parents were not there. And I was like, oh my god. And this is with Jean-Luc, like the guy who is already was convicted. I think he's died, since then. Like,
I would have been like, these are all of my children.
But you understand, okay, what kind of position do you have to be in your family that you would send your 11-year-old off and roll the dice and hope that everything's going to go okay? You got to be poor. No, you got to be poor. You got to be poor from a farm area, from Eastern Europe somewhere maybe, because you have to fit a certain profile. They were white.
Yeah.
They were Eastern European. They had to have been poor because that's the only reason you would send off your kid at 11. And you're
not
really
with a
hoping,
nanny or something.
How are you going to afford a nanny?
Yeah, because you're poor. Exactly. Yeah.
And if you're being promised the dream of America,
bucks.
You just look, how many things that we think about, anytime you actually accept a job, you're rolling the dice that job is going to pay you, right? I was a Gymboree parent and in Park Slope, and I remember there was like this new one that just opened, and they did not pay their freaking staff for like 3 to 6 months, if not longer.
Shit.
If not longer.
But you guys were paying tuition.
But we were paying tuition. Out of solidarity, I stopped going to Gymboree, and I switched to Kidville. And so because I did not want to keep supporting that Gymboree. Right?
Yeah.
Now, it's not Gymboree's fault necessarily, because it's a franchise owner or whatever, but that was a legitimate business where I'm like, oh my god. And I saw how this woman's like, because you're scared to leave because you want your back pay.
Mm-hmm.
So you just keep working, hoping that you're going to get paid. She's never, and as long as they're working, I'm not going to pay them, right? That's a legitimate structure. And they were doing that. That was happening to them. I can totally see how you are poor. You need to make money somehow. These people are promising you a future of a better life, and you have seen other people it work for them.
Yeah.
So you're hoping it's going to work for us, and then you send your kid off. So, and then if you're connected to like a Donald Trump, if you're signed by Trump model management and you're from that area, you're going to think it's good.
It's established. It's well known.
Yes. And
it's a well-known human trafficking ring.
And then there's but like, think about the sheikhs and like all like, we know that there's harems. We know that I've had friends, not good friends, but I hung out with this girl that was a friend of my good friend. And she literally went and hung out with people from the UAE. She would fly over to the UAE and be a girlfriend. And she would come back with diamonds and like a lot of expensive stuff. She would have a lot of, it was definitely like, she was a gold digger. She had no issue with being a gold digger. She was very upfront about it. And that's how she lived her life. And I was just like, I'm so glad that I have a brain. No, really. I don't judge, because I think if you had another option, you wouldn't do that. And if that's the only other option you have, I'm just glad that's not my only option. And I wish you the best of luck.
But there's a huge difference between that, right? Because you're a consenting adult.
Absolutely.
Right? But if making money.
So imagine how much
child.
So you have the supply and the demand, right? What is the demand? Why is there demand?
Why can't we just cut off the demand? If it's about protecting children, we can't cut off the supply.
Well, this is what I'm realizing is that if you make a threshold of, I don't know, what were we going to say, like $500 million, when you cross the threshold of like $500 million valuation on yourself,
you become
no, it's not like, oh, you become a predator, right? I think it's that you have at this point already flown on all the best planes, private jets. You've already stayed at all the best hotels. You've already partied with the craziest party crew. You've already done all the things legally. And now you've done certain things that are illegal. But you've tapped out on that. Mm-hmm. You own everything. You got all the gold. You got all the diamonds. You got all the yachts. You've done all the things. And you've done them well. And you've done them many, many, many times. And now you need more. And I can only relate to this because with gambling, I can understand if you're constantly hitting this, eventually you need to gamble higher to get a higher thrill, and you just can't. It's not going to do it. That penny denom is not going to do it. I need a $5 denom where I'm doing $25 spin as opposed to 50-cent spin. That and then the serotonin or the adrenaline or whatever dopamine hit from that is so powerful that anything lower than that is not.
I can't just jump out of a plane or something.
They jumped out of the plane. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, let's say you've done all of it. You've jumped out of planes. You've done all the things. And then now you do, oh, we're in this weird, gross club. Now, it doesn't start out like that, I'm sure. I'm sure you're groomed in the same way a kid is groomed and any person that is a victim is groomed. If you're trying to honeypot operation,
grooming you into that club.
If you are working in the highest of intelligence operations and you are working for a government that by landmass is very small, you need to be much more creative about how you're going to control assets that you need to control. What is the worst thing that a person can do in this world that cannot be forgiven? This is that, right? Child sex crimes. Worst thing a human being, one that there's no going back from that. Worse than using the N-word, right? Worse.
Like there's just,
there's no forgiveness.
You can't excuse it.
So wouldn't that, if you have
even in the prison system,
if you have no morality, you have no morality, you need to control people at all costs that are in high power positions, and you have money.
All morals and ethics are out the window. Like
clearly,
not even considering that as an option.
The only way that you can actually logically think about this is to take all the morality out and understand that's how it's operating. Because when you have the morality into it, you're constantly going, I don't understand. You don't have to understand. This is not about you understanding why they did it. This is understanding how they did it.
How they did it.
You don't need to know why. You're never going to know why because you're not gross.
Because we're not predators.
Because we're not disgusting people. I don't need to know why. I don't want to know why.
Right.
I don't want to know any of that. I just need to understand how. How did it go so long? Who is involved?
And how is it now the President of the United States of America?
No, but he is entrapped into all this. This is why he's doing exactly what this entire operation was meant to do. When it gets revealed, nobody freaking talk. And if you're in a power position, destroy everything. Melinda French Gates was like, I met Jeffrey Epstein one time, and I knew immediately he was the personification of evil. That is why women's intuition is so real. Like I listened to it because when I've not listened to it, I was obviously wrong, and I'm like, oh well, I'm listening from now on. She obviously has very good intuition. He continued to hang out with him, and the reason is like, oh, Jeffrey has the ability to get the coolest people together at a dinner party. No. Look, I understand that,
like socially, yes.
No, but
I'm just.
We're not talking like normal. We're not talking just like oh, we're happy to see these people. It's like, if you're trying to save the world from AIDS, do you see what I'm saying? If you're, all of a sudden you get to meet Prince Andrew at this table, maybe Prince Andrew will help you get an endowment. Maybe he will become the patron to help your charity save the world from AIDS.
Why can't you do that and not be a predator?
This is what I realized is like somebody said there's only 150 men to control everything, and they're billionaires and higher, right?
Yeah.
Maybe high multi, but generally, they control everything, and this is such evidence of that. It's not even funny,
right?
Because then it tracks. If you're like, why do we not care about kids? That's why we don't care.
You know what's so funny is that's one of the pillars of like the MAGA movement is like how the upper elite are the ones who control everything, and that's why they like Donald Trump, because he wasn't part of the established political regime that's running the world.
Look, it's just like the communist movement. It was like, these people are bad. Then you give them power, and then they become the bad people.
But I think
corruption corrupts.
What is that? He was a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
We knew. I mean, we knew, but they didn't want to. They didn't want to believe us. And then some of them still don't want to believe us. Some people still don't think he's in the Epstein files or list.
This was one of the other things that was very compelling. There was a kind of like a reel, but it was like this guy was posing this question to like a hardcore MAGA person, and he goes, "Okay, I have a question for you. Freaky Friday. They switch bodies. Okay, let's in this world, hypothetically, two people can switch bodies. If Kamala Harris and Donald Trump switched bodies, and Kamala Harris was inside Donald Trump's body, and Donald Trump was inside Kamala Harris's body, who would you vote for? He says, I would vote for Donald Trump's body.
Donald
Trump's body 100% of the time, no matter. I just need a man.
Why?
I just need a man. And that tracked with my Trump supporter friends that I was trying to like find a pathway through. When he finally admitted, like I'll be honest with you, like I couldn't vote for a woman. I couldn't vote for a black woman. That was, I'll be honest with you guys, I'll be honest. That was it. I
But you're just
at least
misogynist.
be honest.
It's okay.
But at least, okay, thank
Yeah.
you for being honest, right? But at least if we know the truth, we can
Right.
strategically work
Through it.
towards
but,
towards the right candidate
yeah.
that would require the general. Like I'm just looking. Look, let's.
I mean,
what do I care about the
We
most?
all love.
I need the
I
next
say
election.
we all love AOC, but I like AOC. I don't think she would be able to be the primary on the ticket. I think she would be a good VP for sure.
Okay, so AOC.
As a
Totally
VP.
a total hypothetical. Stephen Colbert.
Uh,
He's pissed. He's pissed.
Okay, so Stephen Colbert, did you hear that?
So
Aaron Person just said something about how CBS is going to give Trump like 20 million.
Yeah, that's what. So there was a $16 million settlement. Do you know this? $16 million
No,
settlement.
airtime. 20 or something like that. And I was like, you can't do that. Isn't that
No,
against
no,
the rules and regulations of
that
the
was
FCC?
no, that. Yes, that was a violation of the FCC. They already violated it the first time
They're
around.
going to do it again.
No, it wasn't. The person who violated it first was Donald Trump
And
on
SNL.
SNL.
Yeah.
So once that, yes, you are correct. There is that, but that's actually for campaigning. He's the president now, so no,
It doesn't matter.
no, not,
So
not
then we
for,
can just live in like some authoritarian
we
weird
welcome,
regime.
welcome. Everybody is like way far. I'm like already like, are you guys not? I already know where I'm living in the present. Everybody's still talking this hypothetical. Like, what do they mean that? Like, you're all reasoning it. Stop reasoning something that is obviously happening. There is a car crash in front of your fucking face. Stop telling me how the car crash happened. I don't need to know. I saw the crash.
I saw it too.
Can we get these people out of the fucking car with the jaws of life? That's where I'm at. Like, why is everybody telling me? I don't know. I don't know.
just don't understand. When does it end? When is it going to stop? At what point are we like, okay, this power is like a little bit too much power? What is it that MAGA wants ultimately? Not the established politicians, but his following. What is it that they ultimately want? And I want them to be honest. I want them to be honest.
They want us to go back to slavery.
Like,
Why do you think
Why-
they're making
but then-
kids go back to work?
why do you okay, but then every time you talk
Right.
to a MAGA person, they're like, I'm not racist.
No, because
I just want cheaper eggs. And then, like, the eggs aren't fucking cheaper, but they still think Donald Trump is doing something wonderful. And I'm like, well, what is he doing?
Look,
What
if I'm
is
in a
your
room
goal?
with somebody
What
who
is your
says,
dream?
if I'm in a room with somebody who says I'm not a wife beater, but his wife has 2 black eyes, am I going to sit there and still talk to the motherfucker? No, I'm leaving. And I'm taking her with me. You guys that are like still trying to find out, like, oh, maybe we can reason with him. Maybe he did. What the fuck are you talking about? There's 2 black eyes on this fucking country right now. What are you waiting for? How much are you going to let this guy beat fucking Statue of Liberty, our freedom, down? She's got 2 black eyes. Now you want him to, what else do you want him to assault on her?
Right.
What does he have to do to her for you to recognize, like, it's time. It's time to stand up. It's time for us to show them such resistance that they are scared of us. They have to be scared, not violently, but they need to be scared of us, that our unification of ourselves and our ability to say, absolutely not, we're not going to allow this, is powerful. We have been able to push back at times when we really stand up. But when we're sitting there talking about, like, was there a list? Dude, we're so far past the fucking list right now. Like, if he's
There
purging
is
the
a list.
files,
Right. There is a list. If you just fucking listen to women, there is your list. Women have come forward.
But
Women
you see-
have named him. Dozens of women have named him.
there's
a list.
they're purging the fucking evidence, and we're still asking about if there's a list. Like, they're destroying the list. Clearly, there's a list. Whether it's a list, it's not a list,
And
quote unquote, because it's a
Pam
file.
Bondi and what's his face? Kash Patel.
Oh yeah, he's a coward.
They ought to be ashamed of him. First of all, he talked a big ass game before he got put into that position about how it was so corrupt and how he was going to do the right thing and release the list and da 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 da.
You need to
And now
understand that
he's there.
Pam Bondi was the Attorney General of Florida during the
yes.
prime. So she has a vested interest to hide what she did.
Right.
Do you understand that? That makes perfect sense. That's why I'm like, you guys,
but she still should be ashamed.
stop thinking that they're like have some sense of we're gonna do this right. We're way past that. They're just gonna do whatever, and the longer that we sit there like talking about